Georgia hasn't taken a single transfer this year. The defensive coordinator left, so there's that. But the offense, we kind of know what the offense is going to be. And we trust that even with the defensive coordinator gone, the last time that happened, they got better defensively. So I'm not really worried about that side of the ball. They have really, really good pieces to replace. They are projected number 3 in ESPN's S&P Plus, just a hair behind Ohio State and Alabama. But I feel like we have a very, very good read on Georgia. Those were the comments of Bill Connelly. Now, if you don't know who Bill Connelly is, I mean that's okay. He's kind of a numbers guy for college football that's worked for ESPN for a while. He said that on the Solid Verbal podcast. I'm not sure what the Solid Verbal podcast is, to be honest with you. It looked like a bunch of bros kind of getting together to talk, but it got me to thinking what Bill said. Is Georgia ranked so high to start the season because we know so much about them? And give me a minute here to lay this out. We know a lot about Alabama too, for the record, and Bill talks about that quite a bit, and he's right. But um, when you look at Oklahoma, new head coach, LSU, new head coach, the Gators, new head coach, Clemson, 2 new coordinators, and some real question marks on the offensive side of the ball that you're inheriting from a season ago. Um, yeah, who else is who else is means something? USC, a lot of transfers and a new head coach. Notre Dame, new head coach. I don't know. I mean, it's Michigan. You lost a lot of assistant coaches. There's so much that we sort of don't know about the rest of college football. It makes me wonder. There's an order just now for DAWGSTRUCTION, which I appreciate. I want to get to that in a second. But we know so much about the Dogs that sometimes it makes me wonder if we value teams more because we know more about them. Stick with me here. So, Donald Rumsfeld was a longtime Washington insider, a conservative activist. He was in the White House during Jerry Ford, and then he was really bad during his leadership of the Iraq War. But one of the things that he said that is so true is there are known knowns, there are known unknowns, and there are unknown unknowns. And it's the last one that gets you in trouble a lot. In fact, a lot of times, I don't know if it was Tom Sawyer or who it was that said, it's not what you know that gets you trouble, it's what you know that ain't so. Both those things combined can get you into some real trouble when prognosticating college football as we come up to the 22 season. Hey, listen, DAWGSTRUCTION, I'm getting the books in this coming week. The magazines are getting picked up tomorrow. If you get DAWGSTRUCTION, you get the preview edition for free. It comes in the packaging. I These are going quick, so get them while you can. Okay. Uh, I didn't know how many to order, and I ordered what I ordered, and I didn't order thousands. So, like I have in the past with stuff. So make sure you're getting a hold of it now. You don't want to miss out on that. I'm not doing another run of those. I seriously doubt I'm doing another run of those. So get that now. But when you look at the situation with the Dogs, I've talked about it a lot. Georgia, Bama, Ohio State. Right now, we are seeing them separate themselves from the rest of college football in the world of recruiting. Why Texas A&M got so much attention lately was because how well they did in recruiting. But like investing, there is a lag in seeing the returns. You don't just put the money in and the next day it doubles. It takes a little bit of time. Think back to Kirby's first class, that 16 class. That was Jacob Eason, Isaac Nana, Mecole Hardman, guys like that. Well, it took a little time before Mecole and Isaac Nana were playing in the national championship game, about 30 games. Well, not quite 30 games, to be precise. So it takes some time to get where you got to go. Um, that's why it will take Tennessee and Florida a little bit of time too. Um, for A&M to be really competitive this season, I'm just not sure. The team maybe we should be watching out for more than what a lot of people are talking about is Utah. And I know that sounds kind of silly in a way, but when you look at Utah's 2022 schedule, they've got a lot of opportunities to make hay, and it starts with the opener. I mean, they're playing at the Swamp. That you win that game, there's not a super challenging game that they play from that point until October. They are better than UCLA. We will see what happens with them and USC, but it's all there for Utah. And we know, I mean, I know the head coach is really good. I don't know if he's a cultural fit for the SEC, but I know he can coach football, and he's been good for a while. He beat Nick Saban in a Sugar Bowl. He's been good. They did not beat Ohio State this past year. We are not talking a lot about Utah. Now, they got to get the job done against the Gators, and they got to get past that back to back with UCLA and SC. From that point, they could be, if they're undefeated in middle October, there's not a ton in their way. They play a home game with Stanford, and then they play a game at Oregon. Those are tricky. And there's a Thursday night game at Washington State, and you don't want to play on the road in the Pac-12 on a Thursday night. Okay, so I watch the Pac-12 a lot. Anyway, I digress. What we know about Georgia is they're returning their starting quarterback. We know they're returning their head coach and a coordinator who was extremely good last year, and that's Todd Monken. They're returning a proven, at least co-defense coordinator in Will Muschamp, as well as Glenn Schumann. Okay, those co-coordinators there. They're returning a lot of the offense that was averaging. They were a top 10 offense last year. I don't know why people continue to shit on Georgia's offense. I guess it's because of Stetson, and that's fine. But I mean, when you just look through and look at the games Georgia played this last year with Stetson as the starting quarterback, 56 points, 34, 30. I skipped a game. The Gators was 30 something. I can't remember how much it was. That was not a great performance. 34, 43, 41. I mean, they started cranking it up, 56, 45. Then the Bama game, only 24, and they scored 34 and then 33 against Alabama. Probably should have scored a total of 40. Not that the offense would have scored that extra touchdown, but the Georgia offense is pretty good. Now, let's see what happens with Kendall Milton and Kenny McIntosh. I mean, I think I admit that I'm a bit of a believer in Kendall Milton, but he's got to do it. You know what I mean? It's time, man. It is time for Kendall Milton. And then on the defensive side of the ball, hey, look, college football or guys that do what I do for a living, you want to doubt Kirby Smart's ability to coach a defense, you take your happy ass on and you do that. Okay? That is your decision. But I'll tell you right now, that this is what you're looking at when you're looking at, Kirby's defenses over the last few years. Total defense, like the scoring defense. Georgia, 2021, number one. Let me get to this. I'm on a roll here. Don't get me started. Okay, last year, Georgia, number one. The season before that was a step back, I feel like. It's number 16. 2019, the Dogs were number one. That's 2 out of 3 seasons number one. You think that's exclusively because of Dan Lanning? You think that's exclusively because of anybody? 18, they were the number 15 team in the country defensively. 17, they were the number 6 team defensively. 16, his first season at Georgia, they were number 35. Okay. 15, when he was at Alabama, they were the number 3 team. 14, when he was at Alabama, they were the number 6 team. 13 for Alabama, they were number 4. Are you getting the point yet? I mean, the guy has had one season out of the top 20 or 15, whatever you want to call it. So, hey, look, this team we know a lot about. We don't know everything about them because there's still some guys that have got to come along. Okay. We need to see, honestly, Dan Jackson's going to play a lot. How committed to being, where he's got to be is he? How will the tight ends be healthy? I mean, Just Eric Gilbert and well, just to be straight up, the only guys who might really contribute in 22, the only guy who has not been injured of the top four tight ends in my mind is the newcomer Oscar Delp. I mean, Gilbert took last year off, understandably. Darnell this past season, and a little bit at the beginning this past spring, and at the beginning of last season, and obviously Brock Bowers had his situation. Are they serious problems? No, but I think my point is that Georgia has always we know a lot about Georgia, and my suspicion is that's why people have them so high. Um, but we don't know what we don't know, and I think Utah will be a team to watch. They got to knock out the Gators. This is way off the board, but I mean, West Virginia doesn't have a lot in their way in the Big 12, and if JT can score a pile of points, then maybe they make some noise there. But I think Ohio State, Georgia, and Alabama, it makes sense that they're the top three, and it makes sense that Alabama's the sort of consensus number one. We'll see how it shakes out. Thanks for watching.